Today I am talking to the fantastic Brittney Johnson. Brittney is working full-time while she's undertaking her doctorate. And today she shares some thoughts and some insights into that process and that kind of juggle. And we talk about protecting your energy. We talk about finding your productive moments. And we also give a big shout out to Brittney's mum and dad. So I do hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, Brittney.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here. While you are stuck in a traffic jam, I'm loving it.
I know.
See, this is how committed you are, and I think that's brilliant.
Always have to be.
And I am just so delighted. You are an incredibly busy person, as we're going to be discussing in a minute, and I am so grateful that you have taken the time to come and talk to us.
I'm glad to be here. I mean, I'm grateful that you reached out to have me talk.
Oh, bless you.
So honored.
No, see, I've just confessed because I've been stalking you on Instagram for a while. I've been following you, and you are just such a ray of sunshine, just so gorgeous, and have such generosity of spirit in terms of taking us with you on your PhD journey. And I am so delighted that I'm going to tell more people about the brilliant stuff that you're doing, and
so sweet.
And they're going to get to find out about you. So hooray and thank you. Really, just genuinely, I'm so grateful for you taking the time.
Oh, anytime. That's what we're here for.
So we'll see, be careful now, because I'll be ringing you up all the time now. You'd be like, go away.
Oh, no, I don't mind. Honestly, that's me. I'm talking too much. And when people are like, reach out to me anytime, I'm like, I'm always hitting you up, and now you're probably super annoyed at me. So this is probably good for both of us.
Exactly. See, because I'm that person too. There's a meme going around, isn't there, in terms of the it says, please don't. There's someone with a sign on their back saying, please don't come and talk to me because I lack self-discipline and I'll just talk to you for 2 hours. That is me. It's me.
Yes,
that's what I do.
That's why I can't do homework. I can't write papers with people because all I'll do is talk. And I'm like, great, I just wasted a whole day talking to you about absolutely nothing at all.
But see, it's never wasted though, is it? It's never wasted time when you're talking to someone, I feel.
I don't think so, but people probably hate it that I'm distracting them.
But today we're going to be so disciplined. It's going to be amazing because we're going to get it. We're going to pack it all into 20 minutes. It's going to be awesome.
Yes, fingers crossed.
So we always start with asking people about their PhD journey, so their journey into the PhD, and then kind of through it. And you're in it at the moment. So tell us about your story.
Okay. Oh, gosh, that question never gets easier.
No.
But so yes, I'm Brittney, and I'm 26 years old, LA native. So currently I am a second grade teacher. I work as a diversity and equity and inclusion chair for the grade levels at my elementary school here in Los Angeles. And I'm in or about to start my third year in my doctoral program, which is going to be in educational leadership, administration, and policy from Pepperdine University. So just quickly, I mean, my passion is education. That is what I love to do, love to talk about, love to be about at any point of my day. And I found that out through volunteering as a tutor at the elementary school my younger siblings were going to while I was in high school and while I was in college. And in my undergrad, I was a political science major. And so that brought me into a lot of debates and opportunities to advocate or promote social change in the education sector. And that kind of is what sparked it for me. I initially was going to go to law school and do some type of law, which I thought would be a great career path for me. Because like I said, I love to talk. I love to be involved in policy work. But even in my own political science classes, there were just some topics of discussion that happened where others around me just had a lack of understanding on history, on current events that were happening during the time. And that just inspired me to work towards working to bring forth some understanding of experiences of the past and also present practices that shape our world currently. So from there, I finished up my BA in poli sci, but then I went and got my master's in education, got my teaching credential, and then, taught during COVID, still teaching now. I absolutely love being a teacher, and I can't wait to start school in September because I miss my little kids. They're my favorite. But yeah, and I love doing research. I love, I'm a qualitative researcher because I love to talk. I love to interview. And so I just want to keep seeing how to find out ways to do urban planning equity, implement diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in schools, and just how to train leaders how to create a cultural environment where everyone feels welcomed and safe and able to share their experiences to be, better people in this world, regardless of if they're in kindergarten or if they're in college. So that's kind of what led me to my doctoral program. I am currently starting on my dissertation and trying to also, stay up to date on my Netflix shows, work out, sleep, take a nap, walk my dog. So that's kind of where I am right now.
Oh, I love this. I love this. And your passion just shines through as you talk about it. You say in your work on Instagram, this sense of the passion and drive that you have is so beautiful. And also, as you just said there at the end, in terms of this kind of holistic approach, that actually you are all about living your life, your whole life.
Yes.
And you encourage people to do that is all part of who you are as a human being. You're not just the PhD researcher. There's in terms of this particular project that you're on, there's a whole other world out there, and I love it. Being excited about the whole of life and a bigger experience.
Thank you. Yes, I feel like you have to be, because you can get so sucked into like your passion, which is important. But I think I learned during my master's program that I couldn't let that completely consume me and just be like, I guess, my identity in a way, like that it could be a piece of me, but it didn't have to be like every piece of me. Just because, being a political science major and working with diversity and inclusion initiatives, there's a lot of heavy topics that you're constantly talking about and that you're, trying to stay up to date on. You're always immersed in the news. And, during the past, 3 to 5 years, that has been pretty heavy for me. And then also, just the United States, I feel like, has just been on blast. It's been a hot topic of conversation these past couple of years. And I honestly, I started going to therapy and was very depressed. And I was like, why is this happening? And I came out of that kind of realizing that because I was letting my work consume so much of my life and become my life, that I wasn't balancing also taking a step away from it and being able to compartmentalize a bit of that I can still be a professional, I can still be a researcher or an academic and still have a social life to where I can still laugh and enjoy the people around me and my family and, being authentically living through all the intersections of my life. And that's what kind of inspired this page, because I've learned so much from all the academic pages I follow. But I also was like, but there can be a balance. It doesn't always just have to be work, 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 because, the days I'm not posting on Instagram, it's because I'm taking a nap or I'm just hanging out with my family or, being a normal person. And I think that's important to share as well, that we're not just always working, because it's not sustainable and it shouldn't have to be like that, I think.
Oh, no. I love napping. Absolutely love it. And it's productive work as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But actually, seriously with that, you talk about protecting your energy and this sense of this energy that sits as fundamental to you as a person, which also leads to your work, but you're not doing it because of your work, but this sense of looking after that energy. And it seems that the things that you are doing that feed your energy, that nurture you and inspire you, I say it is inspiring to see that on your page. And we'll have a link. We'll have a link to the page so that people can see what we're talking about.
Good.
But
yeah, I hope it helps.
Yeah, well, that protects your energy piece was part of, because you did a post about doing a doctorate and having a full-time job, which is the experience that you are living right now, doing a doctorate and having a full-time job. Okay, that's full on. And part of it was part of what you said there was about protecting your energy and needing to look after yourself. But I wonder whether you can talk to us more about that journey, doctorate and full-time job. Oh, blimey. Yes, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just a laugh. That's all we need to know.
People ask me, they're like, how are you doing this? A full-time job and working on your doctorate? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know either. Because when I first decided to apply to get my doctorate, it was something I always wanted to do. But I thought, I'll wait a little bit after my master's. And then COVID hit. And I was like, well, who knows how long we'll be in quarantine? I might as well just start it now. So that played a huge role, that I was working from home and had that ability to juggle my schedule a little easier. But also I worked throughout my time in undergrad. I had internships. I also was on the track and field team. So I always have had this kind of like go lifestyle, because I don't know. I like to be busy until I'm sleepy, and then I'm like, why am I doing this? But I always have been working, always moving fast. So when I applied, I kind of was like, you know what? Whenever we go back to work, it'll be fine. It's like, what's the difference? I never really took the time to reflect on how the different level of commitment needed in getting a doctorate. But once we were, emerging out of quarantine, that's when I really had to sit down and figure out the best ways for me to be able to do both, because my program is not fully funded. So to be able to afford it, I had to take student loans, and I have to work. Yep. And once that, was decided, I was like, all right, we're doing this thing. And that's kind of what led me to share that post on how I manage it both. Yes. Because I know there are people who maybe are like me, who, have to work to be able to afford it.
Yeah.
And maybe it seems like it's super scary or not attainable. And I wanted to just like share that, it is. And yes, it's tiring, and sometimes you have to miss out on certain events to finish work, or, just to rest because you are exhausted. But the payoff is so great, because you're getting to do all the things you love to do, right? I love to teach, and I love seeing my second graders every morning. And, they ask me, they're like, how's school? Did you do your homework? And I'm like, yeah, did you do your homework? So that's motivating for me, and it's encouraging to me. And then when I go to class, I'm learning so many new things that I get to bring into my classroom. So I really get the best of both. And even when I'm tired, it's worth it. But protecting my energy is definitely, like you said, the biggest piece of it. Because, you're still a student, so people want you to work sometimes for free. And no matter if you have a high degree, you sometimes have to start from the bottom of, teaching a class under one of your professors for free, and presenting at conferences that you have to pay for. And, your home space also becomes your workspace sometimes, if you don't always want to go to a coffee shop or a library. So I think just learning that if it's not something that's going to help my progress, whether that's progress academically, professionally, or just like giving you that peace of mind, like, is this going to give me more anxiety, or like, maybe ease up a little on it, then I don't waste my time on it.
Mm.
Creating those boundaries to conserve energy to pursue the goals that I want, whether that's a goal to travel, like that means I have to work hard all week so that I can travel on the weekend, or a
Mm.
goal to teach a class. That means I have to, maybe I don't get to go out with my friends because I'm going to plan a lesson for a graduate class so that I can present it to a teacher and hopefully she lets me do it. So just,
Mm.
prioritizing what is going to get you to like the purpose that you want for yourself.
Mm.
And sometimes that's working full time while in school. And
Yes.
yeah,
Also, just as a side note, that it's not okay that people are getting exploited, just to note that.
no, agreed. Highly agreed. I'm trying not to go on like rants and tangents.
No. But I think it's really important. I think it's really important that we speak out
Yes.
about this, but to acknowledge that actually there's a system, and you want to. I think this advice to kind of say, think about how that serves you. Does it, and in fact, does it serve you? And if it doesn't serve you, to have those boundaries in place. I think that's so important, and that really, yes to that,
Right.
yes to that.
Right. Yes,
And
and thank you for pointing that out though, because that is super important, because that is a
mm,
problem of how, you know, people aren't able to, I guess, infiltrate academia or even be able to be a part of it because they can't afford a
yes,
$400 conference,
yeah,
or a teacher won't pay them to research with them over the summer. And
yeah,
it's like, well, do I research and get more builders for my resume, or do I work to be able to afford rent?
yeah, yeah.
It's not right, and I agree
No,
with that, which is
no,
another reason why yes, I do work full time, because
yeah.
it does also offer me the opportunities to present at conferences and pay for them, and then also, you know, research for free with other professors because they won't pay.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's like the trade-off, I guess,
yeah.
in some instances.
And we're gonna, we need to agitate to shake that up a little bit. But
Yeah.
in the
Um,
meantime, there was lots of other thoughts that you had. So this sense of protecting your energy was a big one, but there were some other thoughts that you shared around that, this kind of this working and full time and working on the doctorate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I also think, and I say this in so many different posts, that knowing your peak productivity hours is huge.
Mm, mm,
I think a lot of times it seems as though we're supposed to be able to be productive all the time, and
mm,
that's just not possible. Like, it's just not possible.
mm.
And so for me personally, I know I am a morning person, and I can wake up at 5 a.m., work out, and just hit the ground running,
Wow.
and know that I can work from 7 to at least sometime in the afternoon.
Wow.
But I also know that once it hits like 3:30, my brain is like dead.
Uh,
Even if I didn't do work that day, even if I just sat on the couch all day, once it hits like 3:30, my brain is tired and I'm not as productive. Like, I
right.
can do, you know, tasks that require minimal brain power, like doing returns to Target,
Right.
or, sifting through emails.
Right.
But it's like when you know yourself and
Yeah.
know when you're most productive, that's when you schedule your work. Um,
Love that.
so if you're most productive at midnight and you're like a night owl and that's when you can crank out work, honestly, I advocate for it. Like, do it. If
Mm,
you know that's when you can be most productive, say from maybe start a little earlier if you have to do work the next day, and say, I'll start from 10,
mm,
do like some busy work, like maybe start getting all my literature out and read through what I've already typed out. So when your peak of midnight hits, you're going to just slam
love
out
that.
typing out a paragraph or two.
Love that.
But forcing yourself to be productive, I feel like, is more detrimental, because then you end up just, typing whatever, going back over it later and being like, what the heck was I talking about? Like, I
Yes.
I feel like you
Yes.
should take advantage of when to do your high priority tasks or those like mundane tasks, and schedule those out. Because the
Mm,
only way you're going to be able to do it is keeping yourself on a schedule.
Yes.
Like I'm super visual. So I have my calendar. Everything I do is on my calendar or in my like bullet journal. Even when it's like 30 minutes on Duolingo, like I put that in my calendar because when you see it, it makes it real. And then like, okay, I can do Duolingo at night when I'm, can just chill on the couch and go over these new vocab words. Um, as compared to at 9 a.m., I'm going to be grinding out a literature review and highlighting and annotating. So I think that's super huge too, is like knowing yourself and not trying to change when you're productive or what being productive means to you based on other people, because
Love
that's,
it.
I feel like it's only gonna make you tired, and then you're gonna wind up working when you are most productive anyway. So you might as well just know yourself and get to it when you can.
Love it. And I love this sense of this acceptance and self knowledge and self acceptance, and it's kind of this is who I am, this is when I do this, and this sense of kind of being really honest with yourself and being
Yes.
a good boss for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't work. That's another thing. I'm sorry. I'm just like speaking now, but like I think honestly being so honest with yourself. I loved when you said that. Like just taking it a day at a time. And
Mm.
I have a tendency to look weeks, sometimes years down the road.
Oh yes.
Which I've had to, really journal about, really like vent to my mom about. My
Mm.
friends are like, slow down, Brittany. And that's something, it's like written on sticky notes at my house. I put it in my journals. It's my screensaver. And just knowing like take it a day at a time, because even if you see yourself somewhere in a year, you're still going to have to live each day, right? And there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but if you're committed to it, you'll finish, and you'll finish at the
Mm.
pace you were supposed to and how you were supposed to. So if it makes life more manageable to take it a day at a time, right? And know that, what, I did my best to tell myself I was going to write 2 paragraphs today, and all I did was order DoorDash and watch a movie. And that's okay. And knowing like not to beat yourself up about it, and realize how much you have done. Be
Yes.
proud of yourself in that moment. You can still look at your to-do list, because I do it still, and I'm like, there's so much on there. But write on your to-do list, sometimes take a break. Like write that on there, and then you can cross that out and be like, yep, I did one thing. I took a break, because I bet you the next day, even though you're a little bit more anxious about not having those 2 paragraphs written, you'll get it done the next day, and maybe even more. And you'll be happier doing it because you were given a break.
Oh,
So I think that's so vital.
oh my goodness. See, this is why people, this is why I wanted Brittney here. How gorgeous is this? This is positivity. We just need you on 24-hour play, right? I
Oh my
love this.
God.
I love this.
Um,
You will finish, and you will finish when you were supposed to and in the way that you were supposed to. Yes.
yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah. That's what I hope. I mean, thank you. I mean, I just want, like, that's what it is. And I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm always this positive, because I mean, 95% of the time, I'm probably just upbeat and positive, because, that's just the person I am. But there
Yes.
are moments where I'm like, I can't do it. I'm like
Mm.
calling my mom, crying, like, why am I doing this? I just want to quit. And I do feel like, you know, I don't know what's going on. And classmates are talking, and I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, did I miss a reading? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I do feel inadequate. But again, if you're committed to it and you put in the work, you're gonna finish when you're supposed to and how you're supposed to. Like, that is just something I feel like I've learned literally in this past year, from just like seeing myself for all the work that I've put into
Mm.
it. Because sure, there's geniuses in my class, and I'm like, I want to be like you. but it's like, okay, use them as a resource and do your best to, mirror their, ability to intake knowledge. But, getting a doctorate isn't just about being the smartest person in
No,
the room. It's
no.
about the commitment, the passion, the drive, the desire to make something bigger than you happen. And if you are committed to that, it will get done. That
No.
like that just is it.
Yes, 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 yes.
I think. I
And
think because I
no, no,
haven't
no.
finished yet, but I think that's it.
And I think the thing is that if you have been accepted, is what I keep saying, if you've been accepted on a doctoral program, that is because they know that you can do it. And so,
Yeah.
and you can do it. You can do it.
Yep.
You can do
Yep.
it. And it
Oh,
will
yes.
happen.
I love that. You can. Like, that's literally all I like want to tell people is like you totally can do it, because I had so many people like even my mentor teachers who have like wrote my letters of recommendation to my master's program. Once I was like, you know what? I want to get a doctorate. Can you write me another one? I had a couple of them tell me like, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you should. It's not the right time. And it was discouraging because these are people I looked up to and people I
Right.
worked with. And, it kind of, I mean, back to my parents, who my mom and dad are the best. Shout out to them. They're awesome.
Oh, yes.
But them just being like, go for it. If you don't get in, you don't get in. But if you do, then hey, let's get started. And that was it. I was like, yeah, you're right. And once I got my first acceptance letter, you end up surprising yourself.
Yes.
And saying like, you know what? Obviously these people see the potential in me regardless of my age, because that was a big thing. I was 23 at the time, and they were like, "You can't do it. You're too young." And I was kind of like, "Well, why am I too young? Why am I gonna wait to do something I know I want to do? And why do I have to be 45 to research? Why can't I do that now and have more of my life to share the things that matter to me with other people?" And I think like, yeah, what you said was so big that if people like, there are going to be people who see it in you and there will be people who don't, but the ones who do, like the ones who are going to accept you into these programs, they're the ones that that you can start looking to for advice and encouragement, and just go do it, because you can, and it's so possible. It's
Love it.
more than possible, for
I
sure.
love it. I love it. And I love the shout out to mum and dad. And I love,
Always shout out to mom and dad.
well, and that your mum has been, you've mentioned your mum a few times in terms of having that team, that support team. So important. So important.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I'm like, you're getting the dedication. Don't worry, mom, because oh my goodness, I'm like, the amount of time she has probably just been bombarded by me about school. She's like, can you just give it a break? I'm sure she's like, I'm super proud of you, but I've been in school since kindergarten, and I'm sure she's ready for me to be done too. I'm sure she's like, okay,
bless your
Brittney.
mum. She's going to get such a big hat for graduation day.
Oh,
She's like,
oh
I'm
yes.
done. I'm done now.
Yes, she is. I'm like, I'm taking her to dinner. It's all about her. She is a
Amazing.
trooper.
Amazing. Right, now before we started, we both confessed that we are chatters. We are chatters, and we need to be strict. And so
Yes.
we're coming up to time now. And you shared so much good stuff about this sense of the importance of your energy and your own productivity, being a good boss and for yourself and looking after yourself. And that this is inevitable. Success is inevitable. But I wonder if there's one thing. It's very unkind of me, because I do the end of every episode, and it is unkind. But this sense of it is there one thing, a top tip for people to take away?
Mm. You know, I think the top tips. Oh gosh. Okay, is it okay if I share two? They'll be really
Yeah, go
fast.
on. Go on.
Okay. So the first thing I would say is try to find a community, whether that's in the classroom or outside the classroom. um, find that community. You can find online forums of students, and they don't have to be doctoral students. Just a community of people to study with, to vent to. to share your accomplishments with. I mean, your parents are proud of you. I know, like I said, my dad, they're proud of me. But when I'm like, I just finished my lit review, they're like, good for you. But only a person who's, has done
Yes.
multiple lit reviews
Yeah.
understands
Yeah.
the amount of work and just
Yeah.
like exhaustion and like internal turmoil you go through
Yeah.
trying to find your themes and buckets. So find that group that can celebrate with you and also be there for you when you're a little low, because they get it.
Yeah.
I think that is so big, and it's so great to just have around. Like there's people I've never even met in real life before that like I message on Instagram or LinkedIn, and it's so great to just have that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I would say is just to remember that in that community that we're all on this similar journey of trying to pursue this like higher degree. But we may each need to take a different path to get there. So just to do what's best for you to protect like your mind, your body, your spirit as you pursue that, because it gets hard not trying not to compare yourself to people. And like, how do they balance this? How do they do that? How does she know this? They're so much older than me. They're wiser than me. You know, even for me, I'm always like, I admire people who are the last people to speak. And I read all these books on how to be a good leader, and I just can't help but to always be talking. And I really try. And that comes with like, your leadership style and all the stuff we talk about in school. But there's always going to be something you admire about others. But you can't compare yourself because you've gotten yourself this far being who you are. So we each are going to take a different way to reach this similar goal, but you have to do what's best for you, like always. So those are my 2 top tips for sure.
Oh,
that
my
I
goodness.
have recently learned, and I'm like, do that.
So
Just do that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your generosity of spirit, for just your gorgeous energy. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening.